All right, what's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast real estate tip, where every single week I come to delivering different tips, tactics, and strategies to help you get shit done inside your real estate business and help you ensure that you are crushing and dominating your overall real estate goals. Also, today I'm going to talk to you about how to 10x your real estate business very fast and how to do this without necessarily having to add more activities to what you are already currently doing. And look, this is not some clickbait bullshit, too good to be true thing. This is something that I commonly see when I'm having conversations with realtors, team leaders, brokerage owners, where they'll come to me and they'll be like, hey, I want to grow and scale. And I want to grow and scale fast. I want to 2X, 3X, 4X, 5X, sometimes 10X my business. And they think that, okay, well, here's what I'm doing. I got to then add all these other things to what I'm already doing. And very rarely is that the case. And I'm actually going to break this down. This became inspired for me to create today's topic based on a live situation with a coaching session that I just did with another real estate agent, the real estate professional, where we break down everything that they are currently doing. And I'm like, look, dude, you do not need to add more things with what you're currently already doing based on their conversions with those things. And by honing in and dialing in those things, I'm like, look, you can easily 10x your real estate business over the next 12 months without adding anything new to your plate. One thing that I want you to remember is that success is not doing thousands of things. It's doing a few things brilliantly thousands of times. So we're going to break this down here in today's podcast so you can do your own internal assessment on your own business. And you can sit there and say, hey, you can be able to identify at the end of this podcast, do I need to add more? Or do I need to just really hone in and master the shit I'm already doing and get damn good at the things that I'm already doing? Look, you might already have the right things in place. Maybe you're just not approaching those things in the right way. And I'm telling you right now, this is more commonly the case than I see that people need to go out there and add a ton of different shit to their plate, right? So before we jump in here, look, if you are a real estate agent, if you are a team leader, if you are a brokerage owner, and you are wanting to grow and scale your real estate business, you do not know exactly just what to do to get from where you're at to where it is that you want to go. Maybe your business is down. Maybe it's staying stagnant. Maybe it's growing, just not growing at the pace that you want it to grow at. It's like you're operating down here, but you know your full potential is way up here. Again, you just do not know exactly what to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. If that is you, I want to invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure Zoom coaching call with me personally. It's going to be a 1 hour long Zoom coaching call with you and I. And here's what we're going to break down. We're going to break down where your business is currently at, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals and visions are for your real estate business, what you are currently doing, what your biggest obstacles are that you're facing. Then from there, I'm going to map out exactly what I recommend that you do to get from right where you're at to where it is that you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So if this is something that you'd like to take advantage of, go ahead and schedule that at www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Now, full disclosure, we're going to spend about 50 minutes breaking down everything I just said. And at the very end, I'm going to spend a couple minutes walking through what my advanced coaching program looks like, what it includes, what it entails. And look, if it's for you, cool. If not, that's okay too. We can still be friends. You have my 100% word, my guarantee, my promise that whether you ever move forward with any coaching with me or not, this call will be a game changer for you. And I promise you, by the end of this call, I will make sure that you have full clarity on exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So again, if you want to schedule that, go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. All right, so let's break this situation down again. So how to go out there and 10x your business and do that in a very fast manner without having to add more tasks to your overall plate. So I'm just going to give some context here based on, the situation that I just had, because this is what inspired me to go out there and create this podcast today. Is I just went through this 2 days ago with somebody that jumped on one of these free coaching calls that I just spoke to you guys about. And they're breaking down everything that they're doing in their business, so they're where their production was at and where they wanted to go. Now, this was somebody that wanted to 5X their business. They weren't necessarily looking to 10X their business in the next 12 months. I just broke down after assessing everything that they walked through with me. I'm like, hey, look, you can easily 10X your business in the next 12 months. Now, I'm not saying like when I say that, like this is something that's very doable. This was not a pipe dream. This was a 100% possibility to 10x that your real estate business over the next 12 months by not adding new shit to your plate, just dialing in and honing in what you are already doing. So the first thing though that we've got to identify, and I'm just going to go through some examples here with you. I'm not going to do a deep dive on every little component of this, but I want to make sure that you understand this and get this overall concept so then that you can apply this to your own real estate business. So the first thing that we did was, okay, like what are you currently doing? Where's your business currently at? What are you currently doing with these things? So it broke down and things that they're currently doing. And I'm just going to give the two examples of what they're currently doing with open houses and online leads. And again, I'm going to break these down in today's podcast. But the first thing that I quickly realized that was a bottleneck that was prohibiting this particular real estate professional from going out there and operating at their full potential and going out there maximizing and optimizing results, which is what we are talking about here, right? Because it's not about necessarily doing more activities. If we are doing these activities, but we're doing them in half-ass efforts, if we're getting half-ass results, if we are not going out there and optimizing and maximizing on the things that we're already doing, okay, well, then we're just kind of exhausting time. And then, yes, of course, you are going to experience then a shit ton of resistance. Now, here's what's cool, right? So I talked with this person on this free coaching call. Now, this was somebody that didn't move forward with my coaching. Like I said, something I'm going to walk you through. And if you want to move forward, cool. If not, that's okay too. It's going to be powerful. Now, this is somebody that didn't move forward with my coaching, but then 24 hours later, I get a text message of what they're already implementing from that call and already the big impact. They're just thanking me profusely on this text message. Oh man, I implemented this. I tweaked this. Can't believe the results I'm already getting. Thank you so much. Yeah, right. So these are things that, again, the shit can happen fast. I'm not here, hopefully if you've been watching my podcast for a long time, I'm not a guy that blows a bunch of smoke. I deal in realities. And I try to give things to you guys as straight as possible. But okay, a couple things here. As we start, dissecting this person's business, quickly realize, okay, they don't have any element of a tracking system in place. Now, I mean, there was a tiny bit of tracking, but not at the level that we truly need to make sure that we are honing in our business. When you are tracking your data in your business, and I know I talk about tracking all the time. You guys probably get me sick and tired of hearing me talk about tracking all the time. But the reason why I do is this is the beginning phase. This is really the cornerstone. This is where everything begins. If you are not tracking your data, if you're not tracking your business, okay, well then how do you know if you're winning or not? How do you know what areas there are for improvement? How do you know what to fix, what's working, what's not working? How can you create predictability? The answer is you can't. Now you're just throwing a bunch of shit against the wall and hoping and praying something sticks. So then, yeah, you're probably thinking, oh, I got to go out there and do these 50 other things inside my business, or 10 other things, or 5 other things, because you don't even know what's working really well, what's not working really well, what the areas of improvement are. So we got to make sure that your tracking system is in place. And this is one of the biggest issues that I see most people just don't have in place. Okay, so what are we tracking? Okay, per different lead source that you are doing, you got to be tracking, not just number of leads. Of course, you got to be tracking that per lead source. But then from there, okay, number of reach outs, number of conversations, number of appointments set, number of appointment conductions, number of clients, number of closings. So then we get a full picture. We know your overall conversions, but then within there, we're able then to see where the areas of opportunity are at, the areas of improvement are at. I'm having another conversation. This is a totally separate, conversation with another dude the other day that was pounding the phones, man. I mean, pounding the phones and a lot of hours spent on the phones, and he had a 2.8% dial the conversation rate. And I was like, dude, that should be at a 10% or greater. There's 3 easy, quick ways to fix that. You fix that by doing, it's either going to be one of these 3 things, or it could be a combination of all 3, but they're all quick, easy fixes. But I'm like, that right alone, you just 3.5x essentially your conversation rate, so your overall results in the same amount of time. I'm like, dude, you don't need to be pounding the phones more. You probably can get away with pounding the phones even less, but your dial to combo rate was so fucking low. You're just getting murdered. You're getting crushed. Because look, I see so many in our industry that are working their ass off every day, day in and day out, and yielding such low results. And that's unnecessary, right? Like I'm not saying that we don't have to work hard, but we got to be able to work intelligently as well. But if you're not tracking this stuff, let's just say as an example as well as, okay, maybe your industry average getting a 50% appointment set to conduction rate. Well, you should be at a 75% appointment set or conduction rate. Again, on each one of these I look at these as like the vital signs of our business. So let's just say you go to the doctor. You're not feeling well, you go to the doctor. They're going to run some tests. They're going to run some vitals on you. So they can like a doctor's not just going to say, oh, here's 50 pills. Go out there and take these pills and hope that one works. That's what most of you do in your business. You're just throwing so much shit against the wall and praying something sticks without testing the vitals first, right? Without pinpointing where is the issue, where is the sickness, where is that disease at, that we can pinpoint, that we can get that thing turned around very quickly so we know what the cure is, right? Okay, so we can get that, again, 50% show rate to a 75% show rate very fast. And then from there, that can make the difference sometimes. I mean, I calculate it all the time in individual agents' businesses where that alone can make the difference between 40, 50, 60 grand a year on their overall bottom line by just getting that one little number up. Okay, so quickly we identify no tracking system. Number two, we identify, okay, there was no actual processes in place, no clearly defined processes for all the activities that they were doing. They just were not in place. All right, so processes are step-by-step actions that we do to go out there and get the result that we want to get based on the strategies that we're going out there and deploying. Like here's step one, here's step two, here's step three, here's step four. Why are processes so important, right? It ensures that we're doing things not just in the right way, right? Like we're taking what's out of our head, putting that onto paper, right? So we got to make sure that we have the right processes to go out there and deploy and execute on. But then from there, it ensures that we're doing the same things each and every single time, creates that predictability, develops the right habits internally. But most importantly, it ensures that we're doing the same things in the same way each and every time to go out there and replicate results. But as I started breaking down this person's business, it was like, man, they didn't have a world-class buyer presentation in place. They didn't have a world-class listing presentation in place. They didn't have some of these things in place. Now, with my internal agents in my organization, before I even have them go out there and start lead generating, I make sure their processes are in place first. Like we make sure that, okay, they understand their CRM system. We make sure their tracking system's in place. We make sure that they have their CRM set up and understand the processes of how to execute inside their CRM. We make sure that they can go out there and deliver a half-ass, like a halfway decent. I don't expect them to master it out of the gate, but I want them to at least be halfway decent at delivering on a buyer presentation, a listing presentation before they start lead generating hard. So I'll spend about 14 days. We have a 14-day onboarding process where we really hone in and get these things in place. So then as they start generating leads, number one, they know exactly how to follow up with these leads and how to do that in the right systems to convert those leads. Because why do leads exist? Leads exist to go out there and set appointments, right? So the appointments that we set exist so we can conduct those appointments, conduct those in the correct manner to go out there and take those clients and turn them into clients, right? Like so many people put so much energy and effort into lead gen, and then to get to the kitchen table and then flop that. No, man, like we got to make sure like these things are in place. So you go out there and you have, again, high conversions, and we're going out there maximizing on our overall conversions. But then once we get to that table, we get to those appointment conductions, we're just not winging it. So what I'm going through here, I mean, at the end of the day, if I were to break this down, this is just, just like the vast majority of our industry. And this might be something that you are guilty of. Is that, okay, maybe you're just winging this. I want you just to do this assessment just be open and honest with yourself. You don't have to answer this to anybody else. I'm not going to ask you to comment on this podcast, but just ask yourself, are you treating your business as a business? Are you operating as a true professional? And by true professional, I'm not talking about the way that you dress, even though that may not hurt, right? I'm talking about, are you treating your business as a business? Are you being a great operator, or are you just winging this? Are you just kind of half-assing this? Are you just kind of winging this? Are you just kind of, trying to figure this out as you go, just kind of hoping and praying that things work out? That's the vast majority of our industry. But in this current market climate, maybe that worked between 2012 and middle of 2022. We had a lot of amateurs in our business that could go out there and quote unquote wing it and go out there and make six figures or multiple six figures. But all that shit's done in here and gone, man. And I talk about that a lot in this podcast, but it's true professionals, great operators that are doing the best right now and that are continuing to grow and scale in this market. And those that are choosing to be amateurs are continuing to get freaking crushed, right? Because you can't just wing it anymore. You got to go out there and make sure that you are maximizing on your overall conversions on every aspect of this business. So what do true professionals do? What do great operators do? And true professional just means you're treating your business as a business, aka you're a great operator. Okay, they're going to have their tracking system in place. They're going to make sure that they have world-class processes in place to go out there. And so again, processes are just our instructions, our step-by-step actions that we're doing to get the desired result that we want on our strategies. So we're going to make sure that we have the right strategies in place. Then we have documented processes around those strategies. Then those processes live inside the right systems, because systems ensure those processes are executed on the most effective and efficient way and ensure those things do not get missed. Right. Then, of course, we're tracking our business and, things that professionals do. Right. So we started just unpacking this stuff and these things were missing. So I'll give some examples. Right. So we've started breaking down what, the lead sources that they already currently have. And then I started breaking down based on the lead sources, how many leads that they're getting and how many of those things that they're currently doing. And I'm like, look, man, because number one, your tracking system is in place. Number two, you have the wrong process, the lack of processes, and you have the wrong processes in place. You have such low conversions that you are experiencing massive resistance right now inside your business based on the lead flow that you're getting from your online internet leads. Started breaking out the calculation of, because a lot of people in our industry don't even know like what they should be converting at based on those online sources. Okay, well that maybe that's a place to start. Like you should know the baseline. Okay, like if you're doing open houses, okay, like what is a good baseline? Okay, if I'm great at doing my open houses, what should my conversion be? 1 out of 10. Right. So, okay, 1 out of 10 leads should be a conversion if you have a great open house process. So we started breaking these down between their internet lead sources and their overall open houses. And it quickly came down to, okay, like, dude, you just got really bad processes in place. And I wasn't harping. I'm like, hey, the good news is we can turn this around really freaking fast. So we started breaking these down one by one. I'm like, okay, walk me through when you get an internet lead. What's the first thing that you do? What's the second thing that you do? What's the third thing that you walk me through your complete flow? Right. Of course, we got to make sure these are tracked and measured. So we got to get that into place, number one. But then from there, we got to make sure that you have the right process to go out there and maximize conversions. So what kind of drips are you putting them on for email and text drips? What else are you doing? What does your call protocol look like? What does your scripting look like? Because again, a lead exists inside our CRM only to go out there and set appointments. So what is your A to Z process based on these lead sources to go out there and convert these into overall appointments? So we did that with the internet lead, right? We're just kind of, again, breaking down, doing the vitals on this person's business. Then we translated that over then into open houses and started doing the same thing there. Okay, well, what are you doing with your open houses? Okay, number one, like if we start breaking down open houses, I'm like, okay, number one, we got property selection. So are you doing the open houses on the right types of properties? Right. But then from there, I'm like, okay, what's your pre-marketing for the open houses? What's your overall open house setup? Right. What's your tour process? Because okay, like overall open house setup exists obviously to get them in the door, to get them to sign in. So I'm like, okay, what does that process look like? How are you getting and ensuring that 80% of people are signing in before you even give them a tour? So then it came down to, well, I'm not asking them to even sign in. Okay, right. And I'm not trying to, be mean here by any means. This is a common thing that I see. Right. But then from there, we got to understand that activity exists. We got to understand why these things exist. When we look at the overall real estate sales funnel, okay, activities exist only to generate leads. So I'm doing an open house. That activity only exists to generate leads. That's primary objective number one. So, okay, it would not make sense for me to go out there and do this activity if I didn't have an effective way to go out there and get those people to sign in. So then I'm like, okay, now that they're signed in, one of the things I love about open houses, I'm not trying to make this about open houses. I'm not telling you to go out there and do open houses. I want you to look at this. I'm using open houses as an example. And then you can apply this to whatever the lead gen strategy, whether it be prospecting, outbound, inbound, whatever it is in your business. I want you to break these down and do this in assessment. Because here's something that's really important, I think, for all of us to just know. We got to understand this. We got to know this. If you are not having success with the thing, it more than likely isn't the thing. It's your approach to the thing. So if you're somebody that's like, oh, open houses don't work. No, maybe you just don't know how to work them. Oh man, internet leads don't work. No, maybe you just don't know how to work them. Oh, YouTube doesn't work. No, maybe you just don't know how to work them. Oh, I heard some, I was talking with somebody the other day too, and they're going after a prospecting source. All expireds don't work. No, maybe you just don't know how to work them. Like it all works. Now, there's some things that work better in certain markets. Like right now, I'm not going to probably go out there and circle prospect because it's not going to be the highest yield of my time and energy and effort right now in this market. So there's certain things that are going to work better, based on the overall climate that we are seeing. But everything works, nothing doesn't. So if you're not having success with that thing, it's not your market. It is you. More than likely, it is you. And that's okay. That's what we got to know and we got to understand. Now, if you want to be a mature, true leader and take 100% full responsibility, which is what we all need to do to go out there and grow and expand, then we can understand that fact. And here's the great thing about that. Then we know what the solution is, right? It's not that I got to do something different. Maybe I just got to get a lot better at doing this thing, right? Okay. So then from there, continue breaking down so I'm just walking them through my open house framework, right? My process framework. So I'm okay. Now that they've walked in the door and now that they've signed in, okay. One of the reasons why I like open houses is you're immediately face to face with a lead. I don't know a lot of other sources that you're immediately face to face, belly to belly with the lead. So then I'm like, okay, when we're face to face, belly to belly, or on a phone call, what is the objective of that initial conversation? Right? To establish goal, establish timeline, develop rapport, set appointment if able or appropriate. And if not able or appropriate, because now we've got timeline, we've got goal, to establish the right follow-up protocol to go out there and maximize conversions with them based on their timeline and goal. So I'm like, that's the whole point of the tour. Now walk me through your tour process. Well, I don't really do a tour process. Okay, well, there's, right? Like, so we're just going through this. And okay, at the end of the tour, right? Like, okay, just like with the end of a conversation with the lead, okay, that conversations exist for me to go out there and get an appointment if able or appropriate, right? If unable or not appropriate, then establish that follow-up protocol. But then I'm like, okay, how are you going then and asking for the appointment? Well, I'm not asking for the appointment. Okay, well, then let's refine that and fix that. Okay, then from there, at the end of the open house, if you can't get that appointment, what then is your overall follow-up protocol? So then I start breaking down my 1,000-day open house follow-up protocol afterwards. We all know that fortune's in the fall, but if you want to get damn good with any lead source or any prospecting source, you got to get damn good at the front end, got to get damn good at the middle, and you got to get damn good at the long game. It's a law of averages. You're going to have a certain percentage that are going to do now immediate business. You can have a certain percentage that are going to do business within 3 to 6 months, certain percentage that are 6 to 12 months, 1 to 2 years, 2 to 4, right? Like, so you got to get damn good at the front, the front end, which means that immediate business, the mid game, let's just call the mid game business that's, 6 to 12 months. And then that's called the long game, that 12 plus month out business. Right. Like you got to get damn good at all of those. Right. So, because my whole objective is, let's just say I'm calling it expired. Okay. I know there's a percentage I'm going to list now. And there's a percentage I'm going to list in 2 months, 3 months. And a percentage I'm going to list in 6 months, percentage I'm going to list in 1 year, percentage I'm going to list in 2 or 3 years. Like I want it all. I just need to make sure that I have the right follow-up protocol and the right process and the right skill set and the right systems in place to ensure that when they are ready to buy or sell, that I'm maximizing my opportunity to go out there and get that business when that time comes. So as we started assessing the overall business, right? Because they were doing, I don't need to go into exact numbers here, but with the amount of deal flow that they were at, now they were wanting to roughly, if we did like an X percentage on it, it was essentially 5X their business. But I was like, look, dude, on the amount of open houses that you're committed to doing on an annual basis, plus with the amount of online internet lead flow that you are doing, if you just dial in your process and dial in your skill set with these things that you are already doing, you will 10X your real estate business within the next 12 months. You don't need to go add all this other additional shit that's in your mind that you're thinking that you need to add. I'm not saying not go do those things in addition to these if you want to. Like if you want to, 20X your business, okay, fine. Right. And if you have the capacity to do so and so forth, but why keep adding more shit that you're going to do half-ass until you've defined, got these dialed in? Because if you don't dial these in and you continue these half-ass, how we do one thing is pretty much how we do everything. If you're approaching this strategy half-ass, okay, every strategy that you add to on top of that, you're probably going to do half-ass too. Yeah, right. And half-ass energy, half-ass effort. Like I told this person, I'm like, dude, your output equates to your input, right? Like meaning what you put into this thing that you are doing is going to determine what you are getting out of this thing. No different than like our energy, right? Like if I want great, strong energy, okay, I got to input the right shit into my mouth because we're not plants. We don't get energy through photosynthesis, right? We get energy through food If I want great energy, physical energy, I got to input the right shit into my body, right? Same thing. If I want those right results in my real estate business, well, I got to input the right focus, the right strategy, the right process. I got to input that, the right things to get the output that I want. If you're doing shit half-ass your business, right? If you don't have, okay, well, and so here's what I want you to do. And so here's your quote unquote homework assignment for this podcast. I want you to break down and assess everything that you are currently doing to go out there and gain your real estate business right now. And then break those down and ask yourself, okay, what's the first thing that I do? What's the second thing that I do? Like, what are you doing from, executing on that thing all the way through? Okay, you got this client. What is your overall process? What are you doing with that? And are you doing everything possible to maximizing your overall results? And if the answer is no to that, which my guess is for 99.9% of you, the answer is going to be no to that. Because look, even for me in my own business, even though I've gotten damn good at a lot of this stuff, I've went out there and become one of the top realtors and team leaders on the planet. I've been at this game for a long time. Do I ever allow myself to get content? Do I ever allow myself to get comfortable with these things? Am I ever allowing myself to not improve? Am I ever going to allow myself to get to an arrogant standpoint where oh, I already know this. I don't need any work at this. No, I'm still always breaking it down on assessing, okay, how can I do better at that? There's always ways to grow. There's always ways to expand. There's always new technologies coming out. There's always new tools, and we're always expanding. We're always learning. We're always improving. There's always a way to get better. Even activities that I've been doing for 20 years, like open houses, is one of the activities I've been doing for almost 20 years now. I'm not quite in the business 20 years, but getting damn close. So I've done as many open houses and closed as many deals in open houses as any agent I've ever met. Any agent or team, put it out there that way, that I've met. And there might be some that have done more, but I'm just saying that in my experience that I've met, that I've had conversations with. But am I allowing myself to be like, oh no, I'm King Kong? No, man, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to improve. I'm still always trying to go out there and get better and get better and get better. I'm never going to allow myself to get arrogant, because the second I know that, I allow myself to get arrogant, to be like, oh, I already know this. I don't need to improve. I'm going to allow myself to get complacent. That's where I stop growing. That's where I stop expanding. And that's where I get myself in trouble, right? So I'm not going to allow that to happen. So go out there and do this assessment inside your business, because I can promise you the vast majority of you listening to this, you have areas to improve when it comes to your skill set, when it comes to your process, when it comes to your overall strategy, when it comes to your overall systems. With this, there's probably ways to go out there and improve on your overall conversions, based on what you're already doing, and quickly go out there and you might be able to 3, 4, 5x, or in this certain situation, easily go out there and 10x your results in this with doing the same amount of activities. And in some cases, working the same amount of hours, because again, it doesn't mean just because you're yielding low results. I mean, I meet realtors and I'm going to take them at their word, but I'll meet realtors sometimes that are only closing 2 or 3 deals a month, or 2 or 3 deals a month, that are working 60 hours a week. And I'm like, okay, if you're working 60 hours a week, you should be closing, let's just say you're an individual agent with no leverage, no help. Okay, well, 6 deals a month should be if you're working 60 hours a week, you should be closing 6 units a month, not just 2 or 3, right? That shows me inefficiencies in your strategy, process, and skill set. And again, I'm not saying that somebody's lying that they're not working. I'm sure they are working that hard. But if we're not doing things, if we're not working smart, if we're not working intelligently, if we're not refining these things, yeah, you're running, but you're running against massive wind with unnecessary resistance that you can remove by refining these things and dialing these things in. So this is, again, how you can go out there 2, 3, 4, 5, 10x your business without having to add more activities to your overall plate, without having to go out there and buy more leads, and go out there and do this in a quick amount of time. Remember, success is not doing 1,000 things. It's doing a few things brilliantly thousands of times. All right, so as we wind this podcast down, again, for any of you realtors, team leaders, and broker owners, I want to stress that, because sometimes I'll get, I don't know, mortgage brokers or, just real estate investors, scheduling these coaching calls. These are not for you. These are for real estate professionals, meaning real estate agents, team leaders, and real estate brokerage owners wanting to grow your real estate business as a realtor, team leader, broker owner. Look, if you do not know exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go, maybe your business is operating down here, but your full potential is way up here. Maybe your business is declining. Maybe it's stagnant. Maybe it's growing. just not growing at the pace that you want it to grow at. And you just do not have exactly full clarity on what you must do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. If that is you, I invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure Zoom coaching call with me personally. And on this hour-long Zoom coaching call, I'm going to get you 100% dialed in. I'm going to remove all that overwhelm that you probably have going on, all that confusion. I know right now, one of the things that I hear most about on these calls is because of all these freaking YouTube channels. And that might sound, a little hypocritical because here I am creating podcasts and YouTube, but look, we're so inundated with so much information, then all of a sudden we got 1,000 ideas and we just do not know which ones to execute on. Like, I'm going to remove all that confusion. I'm going to get you like a freaking horse with the damn blinders on. So you know exactly what you must do to get from where you're at to where it is that you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. I promise you, I will get you dialed in. I got your back. So if this is something that you want help with, you can go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Now, full disclosure, we're going to spend 50 minutes talking about your business, getting you dialed in and making sure that you have the roadmap to get you from where you're at to where you want to go. The last 10 minutes, I'm going to walk you through and spend a couple of minutes about what my coaching program is, what it entails. And look, if it's a fit for you, great. If not, that's okay too. We can still be friends. I promise you, this will be a massive value to you. Whether you ever move forward with my coaching or not, you have my word on that. So if this is something you want to take advantage of, again, www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. And wherever you're watching or listening to this, if you just scroll below, that top link is a link to just click on to go schedule these. All right, you guys, keep crushing it, keep kicking ass, and I will see you next time. Peace.